Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the podcast, Master Random, the podcast. It has been quite a while. It's been a couple months. I've taken a 2-month break in doing podcast episodes. I did do a few episodes after episode 200, and episode 200 was really the benchmark of the evolution of the podcast, the live show. And it was so extravagant that I completely burnt myself out to continue doing the podcast, and felt like I had to level myself up in order to stay at that standard of doing the live show. But I had to step back and relook at the podcast and see that, you know, the live show was something different, out of its element of the podcast, and something that I wanted to try doing, to see if I wanted to continue doing such a thing, right? And however, I do see myself doing more live shows. I don't see myself doing it as extravagant. It'll be less of an extravagant, big, a lot of lights, a lot of signage, headphones, silent disco. We did the works, and it was a much deserved 2 months break after 4.5 years of just going hardcore in podcasts. And now we're here. Now we're here in the year 2020, and it's fresh. And the podcast, there's still so many people to talk to, so many ideas to talk about, to come up with. And I'm excited for this new year. This year, 2020, March 2020, end of February, early March, marks the 5th year of doing podcasts. So I'm really excited about that. I'm really excited about what this new year is going to bring in, possibly this new decade. Hopefully things change with the way podcasts are listened to here on Guam, and possibly in this part of the world too, right? Podcasting is really just an industry in the United States, and you'll find it in Europe and different parts of the world, but it's not a real industry in the in the Asia Pacific region. So here we are, back at it, and I'm excited, and I hope you are excited to rejoin and refollow everything that we're gonna do in this next year. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Payless One. They are your one stop for organic and natural products and education, located next to the Dededo Payless in Dededo. Payless One, they are your dedicated destination for organic food, home, health, and beauty products. And guess what? They have their own registered dietitian in store to give you advice on, the best things you should buy. And actually, all the products in Payless One are handpicked to be sold by the registered dietitian, Rose Calvo. So go check out Payless One. Their Edu Kitchen is fantastic. They have classes and courses weekly, monthly, and things you can learn to eat healthier for yourself, but not only for yourself, for your kids. So go shop, learn, and stay healthy at Payless One. They're open 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily next to the Dededo Payless. That's it. Sponsors, done. My next guest, first guest of 2020, is the wonderful Regine Tugade. She is a track and field athlete, mostly a runner in the 100, 200, 400, and 400 meter races. I wish I was more versed in track terminology. She holds multiple records locally, broken all the records here on Guam, and has broken records nationally. And she currently is running for the Naval Academy on the Division 1 level, and has spent the last 4 years in the Naval Academy, and she's reaching her final year. And it was a really cool insight to see her story and how she tells her story to in contrast to how it's portrayed in the media. And you know, it's usually good news stories, good races, maybe a bad race here and there, but you know, the deep parts of what of the things that affected her in her journey to become a runner for the Naval Academy right out of high school, running for the Olympics, and everything that followed. Great person. I love her confidence in herself, but also her understanding to be realistic to the trials and the battles that lie ahead of her. So, without further ado, I don't want to give the whole conversation away now, but I do want you to enjoy my conversation with the absolutely wonderful Regine Tugade. Check it out. Welcome to the show, Regine Tugade. Tugade is correct, yeah.
Tugade, yeah.
Tugade, and that is Filipino. Okay, you're first generation Guamanian. Is that what is considered?
Sure.
Parents emigrated to Guam, and you became the first generation to grow up in your family.
Yep, first born and raised here.
Okay. Yeah. Where'd you grow up at? How did you get into sports such as track? I mean, that's something that we've had runners on this show and stuff, and that's something that was sort of bred into them to just born to run. And you know, so how did your upbringing lead you to becoming a nationally recognized track star? Right, broke some records and broke some local records too. So yeah.
Well, yeah, basically born and raised on Guam, like you said. You know, I grew up in like a traditional, you know, Filipino. I don't know if you know the stereotypes. Like,
I know a few, but not too many.
Well, basically, like, you know, my parents always, their priority for us was to focus on our studies, go to school, get good grades. They weren't really super open with like any extracurriculars because they wanted us to focus solely on our grades. But then when I got to middle school, like 6th grade, like I always looked up to my older sister. Her name's Riza. She's 7 years older than me. But basically when she was in middle school, like I would always watch her. She'd be in sports. She did soccer and she did track. Like her first year, 8th grade, when she was 8th grade, she did track for the first time and she was undefeated in her events. She threw like shot put and discus, like, you know, right off the bat, she was already a star, and I was like, wow, I want to be just like my big sister, you know?
Yeah. Sort of found that inspiration and that she put that fire into you, yeah?
Yeah, I really just wanted to be like her, like, growing up the whole time. So, yeah, I mean, when I was in middle school, like, track was 4th quarter, always is, but I just, you know, gym class, they see me running, like, even when, like, before getting to middle school, basically. Like,
did you ever show any sort of athleticism as a child, like growing up before the 6th grade?
I mean, it was debatable, like, because I don't know, my dad and my mom, like when we were really young, they'd always go on 5Ks every Saturday, just like, you know, just for themselves, just stay like in shape or healthy.
Right.
So they'd tag us along.
There it is. We found it.
Yeah, but
we found the route.
I do say it's debatable because, you know, well, first of all, I'm a sprinter, and that showed early on, like very early on, because I do not run those 5Ks. Like when I was small enough, like when I get tired, I'll ask my dad to pick me up. And I remember people making comments like when I was really young, just being on his shoulders in the 5K because I just didn't want to run anymore, you know?
So you had no idea. I mean, it's almost as if a musician was to put a guitar in front, just leave a guitar in the living room for their kid to mess around with, and then all of a sudden it kind of, how do I say this? Cultivates. It kind of nurtures that mentality to want to do something such as that, right? So I mean, you watch your sister succeed pretty much in the middle school level, and you're about to enter the 6th grade, and so did you decide to do that? Were you great off the start, or is that something that you had to build up to?
Yeah, well, that's a great question, honestly, because like I did all the other sports before 4th quarter, because you know, like in middle school sports, it's divided. It's like the school year is divided by so
basketball.
1st quarter, I did cross country. Not a fan of it, but I did it anyways. And then I went into volleyball, because like, you know, in the middle of cross country, like all the girls talk about, oh yeah, I'm so excited to play volleyball next semester or next quarter. So I'm like, I want to try it out too. So I just did it, just to try it out. And I ended up loving it as well.
Right.
Then I did soccer and then track, 4th quarter. And honestly, like, I mean, I would say it was pretty good off the start. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to brag, but first year in track MVP.
Right. Oh shit. In 6th grade. And it kind of just kept unfolding from there for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so you went to JFK, and you became pretty much an instant track star, right? From the get-go.
I mean, debatably, yeah. I mean,
depends on who you're asking.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, I've worked really hard over the years.
Because me,
I
mean, dude, I mean, for me, growing up in sports, I was never the starter. I was never the star player, you know, and I was always either the 12th man, the 6th man, you know, the 8th man, kind of the guy coming off the bench, right? Who works really, really hard to get that good bench position. But I was never, all my friends were always the stars, you know, always got the accolades and always got the all island nods, right?
Yeah.
And so I have no idea what it's like. So I'm sort of curious. I mean, you're still very young at this age, and now you're kind of figuring out for yourself that you're fucking good at something, right? I mean, it's not every day that you find something you love at such a young age. Who would you say is responsible for helping you nurture that love?
Really just my coaches, like all through the years. Like I've gone through some of the best coaches I could have ever asked for on island.
Yeah.
You know how I started off saying how I grew up with my parents being like very traditional, wanted me to focus on grades. Like 6th grade year was a little hard for them to like, you know, be there at everything, because they didn't really want, or like to just bring me to practice. Like, you have to go,
accept
like,
the fact that you're in sports.
Yeah. So I mean, like right when I turned 7th grade or 8th, somewhere in between there, they just like turned on the switch, and all of a sudden they're like, yeah, we're gonna be at every single game, even if you don't want us to be there, even for like the other sports that like I know I don't do as well, and you know, they're like, even if you suck, we're still gonna be there. So like, you know, just having that support from my family.
Right. It clicked for them that oh shit, she's actually good.
Yeah.
You know?
She could be something out of this. She could be good at both, you know, in school and in sports.
Yeah, I mean, I have this conversation all the time with like friends, and possibly on the podcast, but I believe so. That when we were growing up, you know, at least I'm maybe I'm like 10 years older than you, right? So when I was growing up 10 years ago and I was in high school, there was no drive to play sports after high school.
Mm-hmm.
All we thought about was high school sports. And when we got to our junior senior season, we weren't thinking like, well, yeah, we're gonna go play football for UCLA, right?
Yeah.
Or football for U of A. Shout out to my school. I just had to say, I can't say UCLA without saying U of A, even though they got a shit team right now.
Oh.
But yeah, you know,
you went to.
I went to U of A.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, over in Tucson.
Nice.
Right. And so it's it was never in my mind or in any of my friends' mind, those that were star athletes, and those in grades above me who were also star athletes who possibly had college caliber skills, to go and try out or walk on or be recruited to Division I sports.
Yeah.
Right. And so come 10 years later, you know, I have a younger sister around your age too. and she plays Division I rugby.
Oh wow.
Right. So I mean, now we're finding more and more student athletes here playing in the D1, D2, and D3 levels
Like
of
any
collegiate
college.
sports. Yeah, and in every year you get these signings, right? It's like special days where they're gonna sign what school they're go to. Those were unheard of. You never do that.
I mean, my senior year, like I didn't know that. Like prior to that, I don't even think I recall seeing anybody else like do signings, like college signings for sports. And then I was like, wait, I'm literally being recruited for a school. Can I do a signing? You know, that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you do one?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't. Sorry, I'm probably. There's been so many signings. Yeah, there's just been so many that now we have pieces of Guam sports, what we're farming here, and I'm pushing out to the States. Export, I always say, our greatest export is our talent. No, now we're putting all these kids in the higher levels of playing in sports, even in football, you know, and they're able to come back here and, you know, give back in a way. It's like, okay, if you're not giving back directly, it's going to come somehow. The way you give back is going to come for you, you know, and you're probably not even going to be looking for it. Right. And so it's a cool opportunity for you guys as young sports people, as young athletes to experience such a thing, you know? And so when, I guess, your junior and senior year, did you know exactly where you were going, whether sports was going to be something that you do on the collegiate level?
Well, I mean, like from the get-go, like I don't know, like I knew my potential like quite early on. I was like, you know, this is something I'm really good at, and I think I want to, like, you know, continue improving and get better and better. So like I had goals like beginning of freshman year, like, hey, I want to continue track. I don't want to stop track after my senior year, because, you know, we don't have much sports like past high school, like on island, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, and if there is, it's not nearly as competitive as, you know, what you can get like out in the States.
Oh, especially for track.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh,
I mean,
yes, 100%.
Right.
Even more so. Yeah.
I mean, you can maybe for soccer, maybe for rugby, but you're totally right. You know,
yeah.
I mean,
because I mean, like track is all numbers, all like black and white times. Like, there's no one here to challenge me. I can't run against the boys.
Right.
So like, you know, if I want to get better, I have to compete against people better than me, and train with people better than me.
Right.
So, you know, I can only get that kind of program like out in the States and at college, you know. And like, it's 2 stone.
Like, it wouldn't make sense for the best runner to just hang out here.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, so what are you going to do with the running here? It's like, I'm going to challenge. I'm just going to keep beating everybody.
Yeah.
Right?
And like, you know, I was never like satisfied. Like, oh, I ran really fast, like junior year. Like I was like, no, that's not enough. Like, if I can continue getting better, then I want to keep getting better, you know? Yeah. So like, I mean, like I said, it was 2 stone. I really wanted to go get my like college education somewhere else. But 2, I really, really like, that was my, honestly, if I'm being like completely honest, like I wanted to run in college. That was my priority in like choosing where to go or what to do after high school.
Right.
Yeah.
Who helped you do that research?
Well,
or is this University of YouTube?
No.
University of Google.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely use Google a lot,
Right.
but none of that like compares to how much my track coaches in high school helped me.
Right.
Like,
Did you have to send out videos and stuff like that?
Yeah. See, I didn't even know I had to do that. I had no idea how, like, you know, I had the goal of like competing in college track, but how do I get there? I don't know any of this. Nobody around me knows how to get recruited to a school. So, you know, I mean, even for track, like, they don't really know.
Yeah. Has anybody previously been recruited for track to schools or anything like that?
Yeah, there was like a couple before me.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't really know like the process, but like, you know, with as fast as I was running, I like, my goal was to run Division I. Like, I don't know why I was so like big headed. I was like, I don't want to run Division II or III. Like, I want Division I and only Division I. Like, I mean, I look back at that now.
I don't think it's big. I don't think it's big headed. You know what I mean? It's that's something to drive to, and just the fact that you had that mentality to know that you can go higher and that you can push further, says a lot about the way you think at such a young age and how you understood the process, right?
Yeah, I mean, I really wouldn't be able to have sent out any of those emails. I didn't make a video myself. My coach helped me. They're like, yeah, you need to send emails to all of these colleges first of all. Like before all of that, you need to figure out what schools would be a good fit for you in terms of like what they offer as like academically. But I mean, if you're trying to get recruited for track, you can't go to a school that is too fast for you. And if you run at a school where they're like not like to your level.
So it was strategic.
Yeah, I mean, because you don't want to go to a school where you're already gonna be the star,
right?
And like they don't have any like intentions to like
some JUCO, right?
Yeah, like up their game,
Yeah.
Like, that's why I thought the academy was a perfect fit. Like that, I didn't know that I should choose schools like that. I was just like, oh my gosh, like I want to go run at UCLA because they have like a really good track program, and then I wanted to run at Oregon because they have the fastest, like arguably one of the best like track programs like out there,
Yeah.
But like little did Regine know, like I can't run there, realistically, like.
Why is that?
Because they're just so fast.
Okay.
So like, they're not gonna want to recruit anyone who's not running as fast as them or nearly as fast as them or has the potential to run as fast as them.
Right.
Yeah, and like I don't know. I learned this a lot later on. It's just like they look at your times as a senior or like, your peak times while you're in high school and be like, okay, so they need to, if our target is to have them run like, for example, like 11.2 in the 100, they need to be running like, for example, like an 11.8 in high school already. So, like, I was only running, like, above 12 seconds.
Okay.
So, there's no way.
And that 1/10 of a second really matters. Yeah.
I mean, like, it's hard for people who, like, I understand it's hard for people to, like, really conceptualize how big of a difference, like, 100th of a second is in the 100 meters. But
that's why they have those really slow-mo cams over the finish line.
But
and they win by literally a finger.
Yes. No, really. But yeah, like, I mean, I didn't know anything, how to get to where I am, how to get recruited, any of that.
Right. So everything, there's people that guided you along the way. And how did you find the Naval Academy? Isn't this something that came to you, fell in your lap?
I mean, once we started out sending a bunch of emails, like me and my coaches.
Did you get a good response from?
I would
positive?
say so. Yeah, like the schools that I wanted to go to, they were interested in me.
Yeah.
Not all of them were like giving me like the full ride that I needed, because right. I mean, I ain't got no money. I don't want to put that financial burden on my parents either.
For sure.
So like, so my coach, Mrs. Bowman, her husband, who's also like helping coach us at the time, so he was a retired Navy officer. So he knows, like, hey, there's this school and you can run at. It's called the Naval Academy. It's a little different than a regular college, but they're still a very, very, like, really good school to study at. But at the same time, they also have a really good running program as well. So we looked at it and we sent the emails, and then we also sent the emails to, like, the other academies as well. My first choice was actually Air Force. I mean, I also didn't know anything about the military back then.
No thoughts ever about joining the military?
I mean, I had thoughts when I was like really little, but like in high school, like nah, it wasn't really my thing.
Right.
Didn't really want it.
What schools were you getting interest from?
So I was looking at University of Hawaii at Manoa, Pepperdine, Portland, of course. We have a lot of people who like to go over there.
Right.
Among others, yeah.
Okay. Huh. Yeah, I don't know where I was leading that question to, but you're going into your junior and senior year. You've selected the Naval Academy, and this is around 2015, 2016, 2016, and the Olympics is around the corner. So you've been given sort of an opportunity to join the Olympics. How did that all work out for you? Like what kind of led you to be able to jump on that path? How I got to the Olympics? Yeah.
I mean, well, you know how I was talking about how I always had high goals for myself at a young age. little like middle school me was like, oh my God, I want to run the Olympics. So like, you know, here on Guam, the way it works is because we're such a small nation. So because we're so small, we don't have people who are running the actual Olympic standards. Like, you know, USA has their Olympic standards, but realistically, we don't have anyone close to it. So one, we don't have anyone who qualifies. So the way they do it, they give us a wild card. So it's like a universality slot. So the top male and top female were able to go. The way they chose that is just like, so the times you run or the distance you jump or throw, it's equivalent to a point. It's given like a point system.
And this is based on all your high school records or high school, stats.
Just like stats in general, like anyone, like it's not only high school. Like anybody who graduated already is also in the bid. Okay. Yeah, so it's just like whatever's your fastest time or furthest distance.
So were you a part of like world championships to like record official numbers or anything like that?
So we didn't have to do like any big meets like that. Like like if you're at an official meet, like and any of the high school meets counted, or if you go to any of the competitions that national team sends you to, those count as well. So it just had to be an official meet, and if you PR, you run a fast time, you get a points awarded for that. Okay. And then whatever's your highest point value, that's what's used to base you against or like rank you against the other people. Okay. Yeah. Right.
So you were able to garner this slot because you've gained the most points in and out of high school.
Yeah. So in high school, so like I believe my highest point score was like the 100 meters. It was either the 1 or the 200. Right. But
you also participated in 300.
So I did the long jump. The 100, yeah, the 100, 200, 400.
400, 300.
I mean, there's a 300 in indoors.
Pretending I know what I'm talking about here.
It's all right. but yeah, so like it's just, so let's say my PR in high school for the 100 was a 12.26. So that's what they use to like give me a point value, and that point value, like let's say for example it was like 900 something points. Okay. Yeah, so that so my time for the 100 meter beats out all the other athletes who were trying to go.
So does Saipan get this sort of universality slot?
So they're in
or is it just certain countries?
So it's basically all the small countries, or like you know, even it's really interesting because like you know,
kind of weird, right?
Yeah, because you know we're technically a territory of the U.S.
Right, right.
So it's just like, why don't you just run for the U.S.? Right. But I don't know. They decided to give the territories like these wild cards. You know, so one, I'm thankful for that. But
for sure,
it's also really weird for Saipan. I don't know exactly why they don't have that like ability to send some people to the Olympics. Right. Yeah, they just. I think it has to deal with like Saipan's own like Olympic committee. So. I mean, that beats me. I don't really know.
That's above your pay grade, right?
Yeah. I mean, it breaks my heart because I have really good friends, and I know like the runners back there in Saipan.
For sure.
Yeah, you know, who work really hard.
Yeah, I mean,
and they don't even get the opportunity the same that we do.
Right. You meet a lot of the Pacific Island runners through the Pacific Games and stuff like that, right? And for them not to be afforded the same opportunity that you are, you know, as far as getting this slot, right? I mean, totally out of your control too, right?
Yeah, so, definitely.
So that slot is for all sports that Guam can enter into, or is it just sort of just running?
It's like more like.
Is this something I really want to look into now, just because I'm curious?
So it's like the individual sports, like
just pull up a universality slot.
Universality. Yeah.
Universality. Gosh, my English is so bad. I claim that I've been talking this whole time for the last 2 months. I haven't done a podcast, and I guess I'm proving myself wrong here. Yeah, I don't know how to spell it either, Matt. Just let Google let Google count it for you or spell it for you.
Yeah, I mean, all I know is that like it obviously doesn't apply to like team sports. So like it's just not like, hey, Guam, you can go send a basketball team even if you don't qualify. But first of all, I don't even know how like all the other countries like qualify for basketball and stuff like that.
Right.
That's like also out of my
like
pay grade.
Yeah, right. Like
But,
FIBA World Championships or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Or and whatever it may be.
I have no idea how that works. But the same goes for swimming. So they also had the same like universality slots.
Okay.
So if we didn't have anyone who qualified per the Olympic standards. So they just send their top male
and you
top
can
female.
you can only participate in certain track. Hold on. You can only participate in certain track events, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really interesting. Like, people are like, oh, how come we don't send like, marathoners who are unqualified, even if they're really, really good at the marathon on
Right.
Guam, like relative on Guam. I mean, the way they put it, it's just like, imagine, let's say like in the 3,000. I can't do math right now, but I forgot how many laps that is.
Okay.
But let's say like, so the
How many laps is 400?
Oh, 400 is one.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, okay. Let me put it into. Let me think of an event that like.
Okay.
Okay.
7 laps. 7.5 laps.
No. Okay. Here, 1,500. Like, what are the 1,500 is like 3 laps and 3/4 of a lap.
Okay.
So let's say the Olympic standard. I don't know the Olympic standard, but let's say it's like at 4 minutes. I don't know.
Okay.
And our best person runs like 5 minutes, So just imagine how it looks on the track when, the whole pack of people who qualify and are all running 4 minutes and below. Like I said, I also don't know how, like, times.
Right.
Also out of my pay grade.
Yeah.
but like, it's not only bad, like, logistically, because, like, we're waiting for that last person to finish.
Right, the camera.
It also doesn't look.
The camera's up here, and then you you're like, wait, hold
and
on,
there's
that
someone
guy
back there. Yeah.
Oh, here we go. He's almost done, everybody.
or like let's look at like a field event, because we also don't send field competitors unless they, like you said, unless they qualify for the
Right, and I know there's one person who's been trying to get out on the like a field events, right? Like for like shot put and stuff like that.
I think
Justin.
Yeah, Justin Andre.
Yeah, I've talked to him like, out in the town and stuff, but never on the podcast. I'm very curious, like I know he had aspirations, and then I don't know sort of where things went, or what he had to do to sort of push it forward or whatever.
I mean, it's the same thing. Like, so imagine everybody's throwing like 60 meters.
Okay.
And let's say, we throw 30. So, like, not only does it like doesn't look too good.
Yeah.
For us, it also like all the officials are gonna be standing at the 60, 70, and 50 mark to like collect the, I don't know, discus or javelin.
Right.
And then they have to run like all the way back when someone throws 30 meters.
Right.
So I mean, they may be very
like
talented,
purposely
like here on Guam,
ridiculing.
but, yeah, you know
yourself as a country, as a representative of your country, right? To compete at that level when you cannot, when you're not able to.
Yeah, and I'm not, in no ways am I trying to like demean anybody.
For sure.
Yeah.
And you're not using anybody in example.
And
right?
I mean, I'll say it for myself.
Arbitrary, everybody.
Like, I'll say it for myself. Like, I run the 100 meters in 11.9 seconds. The Olympic qualifiers, I just looked it up yesterday because I forgot the numbers again. It's like 11.15. So that is a huge difference.
Right.
Yeah, like that's probably like 10 meters. They'll beat me in 100 meters by 10 meters,
Right.
Like, it doesn't look too good. I mean, it's just less, and like I said, I don't want, like, I mean, I've experienced this firsthand. Like, it's embarrassing to, come in last or dead last, and everyone's like, oh yeah, look at everybody, like, they're all finishing the 200 meters in like 22 seconds, and then they wait, and I'm like 20 meters behind. I come in at 24.
Right.
Yeah.
And you're still like,
yeah. Yeah. And then, people in the stands will be like, what is she doing here,
Yeah. What's up? Huh? Oh, dude. Just use the, man, I don't know, dude. I didn't prepare ourselves for the remote for the TV. Sorry about that, man. Okay, sorry.
No, it's all good.
Oh yeah, just coming in, just being able not to compete at that certain level and putting yourself in that position is likely not a good idea, right?
Yeah, I mean, like,
so what
like I'll take the opportunity if it's
Right.
given to me. It's just like, a little hard.
So what made you want to take it?
I just wanted to. Well, I wanted to compete, like,
Right.
at the highest level I can. Like, I know on Guam, I am like arguably the best.
Mm-hmm.
I have the records. Like, why should anybody else go instead of me?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Let's look at this real quick, and then we'll. All right. Wild cards are added to a strict qualification system to encourage greater sports participation worldwide. Makes sense. That's cool. Can you go down? I'll try zooming in a little bit so we can sort of. Okay. All right. But while the Olympics certainly does and should celebrate spectacular achievement, surely there is a place for those who want to try. Under the IOC, which is the International Olympic Committee's current policy of continental representation, wildcard slots are available, determined by a continental representation formula on a sport-by-sport basis in an ongoing move towards universal sports participation, specifically encouraging developing nations to cultivate sport. Each participating country's Olympic committee can then add its own unique qualification requirements to produce its team.
Yeah.
So the what is it? The Guam National
The National Olympic Committee.
Yeah, right. The GNOC, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're the ones that sort of set the precedence of, or the standard of who's going to be able to qualify, but they have to be a part of some formula, right?
Yeah. So that's why Guam has like those wild cards in the first place, is because they want Guam to be represented on like the international field.
Right, and it gives like I said, it gives smaller countries and people with growing sports.
Yeah, exactly.
To be able to know what it's like to
mm-hmm.
compete at that level.
Yeah, it's really all about like representation, and it's all a part of the process. If they want these smaller countries to develop their programs in that sport, like that's how they do it.
Right. Nice.
It's a really interesting thing. I know I've read like articles where people bash on it, and like they have their like negative opinions about it, but
yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day,
that's the internet for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can have your own opinion, but like I said, at the end of the day, it is what it is.
Were you discouraged by any negative comments, like going into the Rio Olympics?
I mean, I don't think I read much, like negative feedback on me at the time.
Yeah.
It's more so like after.
In general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like after the people see like the people who come in like last or like are way behind like
yeah.
The other runners, like you kind of feel like, oh wow, I really shouldn't be here, and maybe I don't deserve to be here. So it's kind of like it's really conflicting.
Wow, yeah. I mean, because the purpose is to like cultivate the sports
mm-hmm.
and
mm-hmm.
stuff, but at the same time, on the negative side of it, it's also causing like discouragement.
Yeah.
Right, because now people are feeling like they can't compete at that level, or on the flip side, it could tell them, shit, I need to do a little more.
Yeah.
I know what it's like now,
mm-hmm.
right? And so I guess going into your first meet, is that the
first meet,
correct term? Right. Going into your first meet in the Olympics, what were you feeling?
Well, I mean, I just had to set all of that aside.
Mm-hmm. No emotions.
Oh, I had emotions.
Stoic.
Oh no.
Michael Phelps stoic.
Oh, I wish I could have been, but no, I was super nervous. Like, I mean, I already know. Like, I mean, I understand how it is in track, and I know, like, I see these girls' times, and I'm like, wow, I realistically cannot beat them.
Mm-hmm.
But, like,
So you knew who you were running against?
Yeah, so there's, like, like, in my heat, like, I can see who the girls will be in, like, each lane, and I know their seed time, so I know what they've run. I can look up their best times of the season or best time, like, overall. So I know exactly where their, like, levels at, Wait,
so you're Googling them while you're... Or is that something information that's just available?
Yeah, so anyone can look at it like prior to the actual race.
Damn.
Yeah, so like they have that all of it.
That's like psyching you out, though.
Yeah, I don't know. My coach has his feelings about it too. He doesn't like to show me heat sheets like right now. Like I'm like, Coach, can I see who's the girl I'm gonna run next to? Like, can I see their time or just let me know her name so I can go search her up on Google. Like, let me find the time. So I know what I'm going up against. But he's like, no, you don't need to know. Just run your own race.
Why do you feel like you need to do that?
I don't know. I just feel like I'm better. I'm more prepared.
Yeah.
Kind of like I just want to. I like to know what I'm getting into.
Right.
Like, you know, if there's a girl who's running slightly faster than me, slightly faster than like my goal, then I mean that'd be a good person to like keep my eye on. Like, you know, in the 200, like I'll be like, okay, so this girl on the outside of me, she's running like 0.2 seconds faster, PR, and I'm like, I want to run that time. So like, let me make it my goal to like keep up with her, like right out the blocks, like keep my eye on her. Like if I'm passing her like early on, then that's a great sign. Like maybe I'm like running really well, and you know,
right, coming around the turn, right?
Yeah, but I mean, my coach has his own like feelings. Like sometimes he doesn't like to let me know. Sometimes he does. Sometimes he's like, don't worry about the other girls, just run your own race. But
right, yeah. I mean, it's all psychology, right? At that point. And just kind of like the mental state that you put yourself into. I wonder if that would work against, you know, I mean, I can see how it can help you, but I can also see how, you know, it can also like fuck with you.
Oh, 100%. Like
mentally, it's like, yeah, this girl's really good, you know?
Yeah.
Or if your coach don't tell you, like, oh shit, you're not telling me now, is she like fucking really good?
I mean it could go one of both ways. It depends how you take it. Like, I mean, there have been times when I've seen girls, their seed times are much faster than me. And I'm like, oh wow, I'm gonna lose this race already. And that's not the kind of mentality you want to put yourself in before a race. You know?
Right. And like going into it, like it's like you almost lost before you even
exactly. That's what my coach tells me all the time. Yeah, so it's really how you use that information. So sometimes like that's why he'll just keep it away from me. Right. Yeah.
So yeah, the feelings, just going into the first meet, walking onto the track, in the stadium, big lights, you know, like what was going through your mind? Like, how do you settle your nerves? How do you see that, you know, the countries that you're running against, you know, maybe they're physically bigger, or maybe they're the same size as you, but they're quick as shit. You know.
I mean, it was nerve-wracking, but I mean, my high school coach told me this. She told me to put on my horse blinders, like, you know, so I can focus on my race and my race only. Because like whether they run a lot faster than me or whether I'm faster than the next person, all I gotta do is just run my own race, and I'll more than likely have a better chance at running a better race. Yeah. Like, I mean, like, you know, it's the Olympics. I'm running against really, really talented, wicked talented females, you know,
right,
who look
Were you the
way
same?
Bigger.
Were you the same way in high school?
The dynamics were a lot different in high school.
Okay.
I mean, I knew where I stood.
Like,
right. And
I ain't worried about nobody's time.
I'm worried about my time though.
Right.
Yeah. So it's
don't got time for that.
It was a lot easier in high school because all I had to worry about was like, I want to like, you know, break my own PR. So it's like, I'm racing against myself. So the nerves weren't really there. I wasn't in like I didn't have like much pressure to like, oh, I have to beat this next person because, you know, I'm gonna win. But it wouldn't count as a win in my books if I didn't reach like the time I wanted to run in high school. So that's how it was before.
Yeah. So like, had you ran a collegiate meet prior to going to the Olympics, or was this like literally right out of high school? This
was out of high school in the middle of the summer. I was at plebe summer for the Naval Academy because I was about to start my freshman year. So plebe summer.
What's plebe summer?
So plebe summer is like, you know, boot camp, but specifically for the Naval Academy. So it's like more condensed and more intense because it's only 6 weeks compared to I don't know how long people or how long
the normal Navy folk.
Yeah. But yeah, so you know, it was intense. Like it was right smack dab in the middle of plebe summer. I also received a lot of backlash because I left plebe summer, and people who are not from the academy don't, or not, no, the other way around. People from the academy, like, you know, they know how big a deal of plebe summer is. Okay. So it's just like, oh wow, so this girl gets to leave plebe summer. She gets to skip plebe summer. You know, she gets to skip boot camp. Right. And compete at the Olympics.
How long were you gone?
So I did plebe summer for the first 4 weeks of the 6 weeks, And then I was there in Brazil for 3 weeks. So I missed like the first couple days of school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I got a lot of flack from that, honestly.
Yeah.
And they're like,
coming back to school, and it's like, oh, there she is.
yeah, they're like,
skipped out.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
no.
no.
Is that how you?
It really was. It really was.
Hey, man.
Like, people were not shy, and like, you know,
For real.
like, you know, back home, everybody like, oh my God, Regine, like, I'm so proud of you. You ran at the Olympics. Like, that's like, you did so good. Like, I'm so proud of you.
All the praise.
All the praise, all the love, all the support.
For sure.
I go back to because I left when I left Brazil, went straight back to Maryland. I was not received well. They're like just straight up like, instead of being like, oh my gosh, like congrats, you ran at the Olympics, like, you know, that's pretty huge. That's pretty awesome.
Right.
But instead it was just like, oh, so are you the girl that skipped plebe summer?
Really?
Yes. Are you?
Oh man.
So you're the girl that didn't do it at all, did you? I'm like, first of all, like, you know, those are rumors. I did go to plebe summer. I did most of it. There are other people.
So people in people's minds, they were thinking you got a special pass or some shit like that.
Yes, there's actually like a news article from like I think it's called like Baltimore Sun. You could probably find it, but I don't know. Like, it really depends on how you read it, like to tell the tone.
Yeah.
Like, they're just like, she gets a wild pass out of like plebe summer while everybody else is still working really hard.
Wow.
You know? Like, it was more like focused on the fact that I missed plebe summer, as opposed to like, wow, she went to the Olympics.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, it was even worse just because, like, you know, nobody knows what Guam is over there. Like, rarely people do.
Right.
As sad as that is, like, and they're like, oh, she didn't even run for the U.S. And like, you know, I also got comments like, oh, she didn't even deserve to go because I didn't qualify, you know, going back on the universality slots.
Right, right.
You know, so they're just like, oh, so she just got out for free. Got to go to Rio, go on vacation, run, come back, not even, you know.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's kind of tough because, like, I mean.
That is tough.
Mm-hmm. And, I mean, there's, like, also other people. Like, I go to a really prestigious school, honestly. Like.
Yeah, Naval Academy.
There's, like, people there.
They made a movie called Annapolis.
Yeah. but what I'm trying to say is, like, during that summer, there were my classmates who were, like, trying to go to the Olympic trials for swimming or like other sports and stuff like that. And you know, like, these are people who actually are Olympic caliber or at least close to it. And then you have me, and then people like to really bring up that, like, you know, that gap. And you know, I don't want to say
does it bother you today?
You know, today, like, I've really reflected on it a lot my first 2 years, but you know, I'm about to finish out my 4th year, and you know, like, I do it for me, I do it for my island. Like, if you still feel negatively about that, or the fact that like my next goal is to go 2020 Olympics, like, that's on you. Like, I'm not doing it for you, you know?
Right.
Like, you know, I've just kind of like learned to not focus too much on that. Like, if people have something to say about it, or.
It's been 4 years, people.
Yeah.
Get over it.
Yes. Like, you know. You probably got something else to worry about, like, and if I'm gonna go, like, so what?
Did they make you feel like it was a bad thing that you did such a thing
to go to the Olympics? Oh, yes. Yes, like I said, like, you know, I came back and all they cared about was just that I missed, and it's just like, oh, so, you know how I said, like, they focus on the fact that I left plebe summer instead of the fact that I went to the Olympics. Yeah. It was more like, wow, you left your classmates behind, instead of like, cause I don't know, like, from the very beginning they try to teach us, like, no more with the individuality. It's more of like groupthink kind of mindset.
Right.
So
here you are going as an individual runner.
Yeah, I don't know. It was really weird dynamics before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what helped push you through that sort of first, you know, the rough patch going into college, you know, or into the Naval Academy, and now just about to complete your 4th year?
I mean, I just had a really good support system back home. Like, my family, my friends, everybody was like, you know, rooting for me. I'll be like calling them up, like, yo, I don't want to do this. I want to leave. Like, mom, like, I got to go to another school. Like, I'll take out a loan. I'll go to work. Like, anything to get me out of here, because really? I don't like the way I'm being treated. You know, like, I'm also homesick. Like, it's hard, you know, sure. But I really owe a lot of my success and being able to make it through here to, like, all the love I get from back home.
Yeah. Man, that's awesome though.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, to people think and they only see through, whether it be social media, through the news, you know, they see the upper layer of what's going on, you know, your successes as a runner at the Naval Academy, which you have found success, right? But they don't really get to see what it took to kind of push that success, right? The down and dirty parts, the parts where it hurts the most, the toughest times. And I think that's what people would really like appreciate hearing, like you coming out of the Naval Academy and continuing your running career and going into the 2020 Olympics. I think it's pretty admirable.
Nice.
You know? I mean, like you said, it's a prestigious ass school, man.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like the way I was treated, like the way I felt back then, the like comments I would read or people, the way they would tell me, like honestly, and the like thinking, like looking back at it, honestly, I think it really helped push me to like, you know, further excel in track. Like like in the back of my head, like my subconscious, it was just like, well, you know what, maybe I should just prove to everybody over here who don't know that, hey, I'm fast, like, and I can run faster, and I'm only gonna get faster because I'm determined to work hard. So, you know, I just wanted to turn that into like reality and like, hey, let me just try to prove myself to everybody. Yeah. So like you can stop talking and be like, oh wait, she actually did deserve to go, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I don't know if that sounds bad or not.
No, not
like,
at all. Not at all.
Like, I don't know, on either side.
I mean, on one side of the coin, you really have no reason to prove anything to anybody else, right? But to yourself. But on the other thing, you know, you're using your actions and you're using your success within the academy to show that, yeah, I do deserve to be here. You know, so transitioning from high school to college, you're done with the Olympics. You know, so now what about the training regimen do you think was, you know, or did you see was the biggest change, and what did you have to do to improve your times or to get better that you didn't know prior?
Honestly, like, I can go on and on about this.
Go on and on about it.
I mean, like, I just learned so much. Because, you know, in high school, I learned a lot in high school. But then I didn't know I could learn so much more in college by, like, you know, different coaches, different, like, coaching styles, different programs. Like, I mean, I didn't know how to lift weights properly in high school. And, you know, it turns out, like, we lift all the time.
And you have a lifting coach, right?
Yeah, I have a strength and conditioning coach. And I'm like, wow, we have a coach specifically to teach me how to lift. Like, it's that important. And I do see, like, results from stuff like that. Like, there's little things that change in, like, the training program.
Not like Guam, it's one coach.
No, yeah.
Everything. And he might be the basketball coach, too.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, hey, on Guam, we do what we can.
For sure,
you know?
Yeah.
And we still get results either way. But
yeah, I mean, we're putting Division I athletes into schools. So.
Oh, yeah. But yeah.
So, yeah, go ahead.
I mean, like, in college, like, it's just, like, this is exactly what I wanted. I wanted to have, like, such a good program where I'm, like, given all the resources and all the opportunities to excel. And that's exactly what I got. I have my own strength and conditioning coach. I lift all the time. I learned how to lift properly. I've been lifting, like, pretty well. The training program is just completely different from, like, high school. Like, if we go down to the nitty-gritty details, it's just, like, the way you warm up.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, like, there's like, a science behind it, you know? Like, I like to tease all my friends back home, like, hey, like, I don't run no mile to warm up like I did in high school, and that was one of the things I hated so much, the warm up, because I would have to run a mile to warm up in high school every day, and I'm like, I can't do this. I hate it so much. It takes so long. I'm so tired. I just want to go home now.
Yeah.
And then we do, like, partner stretches, static stretches, and then, like, just in college, my warm up is literally, like, doing strides, like 4 strides of 50 meters at, like, a pretty fast pace. So I'm not jogging, thank God. I don't jog anywhere near a mile. Like, I don't even put that kind of mileage behind me. And it's really all about, like, specificity, sorry.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I learned so much about how I can, like, better myself, like, as an athlete in general.
Right. Huh. I think I want you to expand more. You know, I mean, at least on the regimen that you go through, to what what is the difference maker in getting that 1/10 of a second, or that 2/10 of a second, or that 3/10 of a second?
I think it just, if I want to put into broad terms, it's really just working smarter as opposed to working hard.
Yeah.
Working harder.
Right.
You know, like I'm working hard, but I'm also working really, really smart, because I need if I want to run faster, the only way I can run faster is if I run fast in practice. Like that's the only way you can train speed, by running fast, you know. I can't.
Tugade, run fast for me.
I mean, like you can't have me running laps and laps and expect me to have, you know, that fast twitch muscle.
Right.
How am I gonna get faster in the 100 meters? You know, I run for 11 seconds. How am I gonna get faster? How am I gonna, you know, like I said, specificity. So like the things you do in practice, the way you train, is like, you know, that's the kind of results you're gonna produce.
Right.
Like I mean, like even in lifting, like. My strength and conditioning coach, when we do cleans and snatches, when we do squats, they're all specific to like our event. And because I'm such a fast twitch person, fast twitch athlete, like instead of like,
you got to use your muscles, they're like really moving fast.
They're like, they move really fast, as opposed to like having the endurance to like go longer, like how distance runners do, people who run 5Ks, you know?
Right.
Yeah, like I mean, I do not have cardio to save my life.
Me neither.
Like if you ask me to run a mile, I will like probably be dying at the end. Like
that's interesting.
I will. Yeah, no. Seriously.
That's like a different dynamic of what a runner is.
Yeah,
you know? It's like I'm a runner, but I don't do that kind of running.
Yeah, I mean, and people who don't really understand track, they're always like,
I don't.
I mean, like I understand. You know, I mean, you can't ask me anything about like, you know, football or something like that. But like, I mean, people be like, oh my gosh, you're super fast at running. Like you must run like a 6-minute mile. Like absolutely not. No, I run 8:30, sometimes 9.
Yeah.
And it's like really, really slow compared to other people, you know, and like their expectations is just like, I mean, going back to like the Naval Academy, we have a fitness test like every semester. And part of that fitness test is I have to run a 1.5 miles. I'm always one of the dead last ones. Really? Yeah, like the passing for the 1.5 miles for females is 12 minutes and 40 seconds. Well, I'm always coming in at like 12:20, 12:30. Like people are worried, like, oh my gosh, is Regine gonna pass? Like, I might pass out.
You don't get me that water right now.
But I mean,
thirsty.
I can run a wicked like if I run a wicked 60 meters or 100 meters, like I'll run super fast. Yeah. But I don't run long, you know. Yeah. And like I said, like it's all specificity.
You can rob the store and sprint to the nearest gas station and hide, but don't ask me to run to the morning from here.
No, no, sir.
Yeah, so I mean, has working at the Division I level allowed you to understand your body a little more, at least the physiology?
Yeah, I mean, I really learned so much. I learned like, you know,
like what you're supposed to eat, like what is
like my diet. Like I did not know how important, like, well, obviously I knew how important diet was, but I like didn't know like what's the kind of foods I should eat, what I should stay away from, stuff like that.
Yeah, what is it for at least fast
I mean, it's not really about like fast runners. It's just like, you know, I have to eat healthy and in moderation. You know, I can't be eating like all the ice cream all I want. Yeah. You know, I can't be eating so much carbs. I need a lot of protein, because I need muscles. Right. I mean, you can't really see it, but like, I'm kind of small, but I swear I got some a little bit.
Hiding under the clothing.
Yeah. Somewhere there. But like, I didn't know how important sleep was. In high school, like I don't know how much I was getting in high school, but it definitely wasn't as much as I try to get now. Right. Like that's one of the things I took for granted in high school. Like, I mean, I didn't have as much homework to keep me up at night, but now I do. And now I'm trying to sleep like, you know, 8-9 hours at night every night, because like I see the effects of it. Like we even have a human performance lab on campus, so I go there every 6 weeks. I get my like body composition, like all of that stuff, and I'm like, I just learned so much just talking to like, you know, the one who works there. Like, hey, like, how come I lost all this weight and my like, you know, my body composition is like at like a really good low at right after the summer, and we haven't even started training. I did not work out for like a good 1.5 months. Like, and I also ate like crap. Like, why am I doing so well body comp wise? And they're like, well, like how much have you been sleeping? Like, I was like, probably 9 hours, 10 hours sometimes, you know, like, because I don't have anything better to do. I just like to sleep. And then, like, well, bottom line, it's just like my body is paying back, or like, you know, like thanking me back for all the sleep that I'm finally getting. Because at the academy, it's so stressful. Like, I'm busy. Like, if I'm not busy doing schoolwork, I'm busy doing like military stuff or like professional stuff. Like, I'm just so busy, always stressed. Like, no matter what, like, I'll try to shoot for like 8 hours or even 7. Sometimes I'll be lucky if I get 6, you know?
Right.
So it takes a toll on my body. But, you know, just little things like that, I learned, like, if there's so many parts and so many, like, things that could help me get better that, like, you don't really realize until, like, someone tells you or, like, you learn, you know?
Yeah. What do you do to manage all that? To maintain balance with everything? You know, does the Naval Academy's regimen sort of allow you to do so, or force you to do so, or is this
I would
something...
say it forces you to do so, because if you can't manage your time with, like, you know, military trainings, all the like formations you got to go to, all like and our classes are not easy. We like the minimum amount of credits you can take is 15, and that's like assuming you've already finished out all your other required courses, because like I've been taking an average of 18, 19, 20 credits like the past like semester since I've been there.
Damn.
So like it's just like
that's like 6 classes.
Yeah. It's and we have a gym class on top of that. Like, why am I taking gym still? So, you know, like, you know, it's
making me run miles.
It's so stressful. There's a lot of things you have to do, but basically it's telling us, like, the academy is trying to teach us, like, you know, indirectly, like, you need to know how to manage your time and, like, you know, perform under stress. Because, you know, that's how it's going to be like in the fleet in one way or another. You know?
Right. So what's your requirements after you graduate from the Naval Academy? Do you have to serve a certain amount of years? Are you required like more than a regularly enlisted?
Yeah, so the way the academy works is, so basically, if you get into the school, everybody who gets accepted, they come in for free. So everything is paid for, no money comes out of your pocket. And the way we repay that is, when we graduate, we have to serve a minimum of 5 years. And the way that the academy is different is, like, it's not like an enlisting program. So people who are in the academy are training to be officers. So when we graduate from college in 4 years, we'll commission that day of graduation as an officer in either the Navy or Marine Corps.
Nice. Yeah. So that's what you're looking forward to in May. Yeah.
So, so when I graduate, I'll commission as an ensign in the Navy, and I have to serve a minimum of 5 years. Which is not bad.
Yeah, not at all. It goes by fast.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, 10 years goes by quick too. Yeah. And before you know it, you know, you just might end up being in it for 20 years and you're ready to retire, and you'll still be 38.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, that's a later issue, because I don't know right now. I know. It's gonna be my thing.
Fresh young legs at 21. You know what I mean? Like, still ready to run the track all the time. You know. So what do you do to prevent yourself from burning out? You know, this is something that I sort of brushed on before we started, but I definitely wanted to tackle it here, because I have a friend in Arizona. He got drafted out of high school into the MLB. And 2 years in, he got burnt out because he played baseball all his life. Got into the MLB and got into training, and he got burnt out. Ended up leaving and becoming, you know, staying in Tucson, and then it was many years later he was playing for the minor leagues and he got picked up by the Mariners. So what do you do to prevent yourself from burning out mentally?
I mean, it's hard, because like in high school, the way, like, that was always on the back of my head, like, oh, I don't want to get super tired of track. Like, that's another reason why I did other sports in high school. It was like, you know, it's a great break. I get to, like, I enjoyed playing volleyball. I enjoyed playing basketball. It was fun. It was a good way to stay fit, and at the same time, like, I'm fit and I'm ready to, like, you know, transition into track later on. But it's a good, like, mental break to just not run, like, circles all the time, you know?
Right.
Yeah, so, like, I mean, now in college it's a lot different because I start training in like September.
Right.
So I train in September, and then our season, we have indoor and outdoor season, and I don't stop running until like beginning of May.
Right.
And that's only the collegiate season, because like when I'm done with that, I come home and I get ready for any like track competitions that they send us to.
Are you allowed to join any meets for any qualifiers, or just kind of just getting yourself outside of collegiate track meets?
I mean, yeah. So we are, and that's how like that's what I've been doing for the past like three years. Yeah.
To qualify for 2020.
In a way, like indirectly, yeah, but like I just wanted to compete for Guam.
Okay.
Like, on like international stages and stuff and whatnot.
Right. So for 2020, does it work the same way with the universality slot?
Yeah. So we do have the universality slot, but it's a little different. Instead of having one male and one female, Tokyo, like this was like an executive decision, like way out of our hands. Now we only get one universality slot.
Oh shoot.
So like the males and the females in track and field on Guam are competing against each other now.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Oh, tough. That's tough. What do you think your chances are? Are you worried at all? Or?
Honestly, like I'm pretty confident in myself. And track and field is a very black and white like sport. Like these
numbers
are the times.
Don't lie.
Yeah, numbers don't lie. Exactly. Like I mean, my times from the past season are pretty up there. I get enough points to put me on top.
Yeah.
I mean, I
how much have you improved since 2016?
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, 2016. At the Olympics was not good.
You were a much smaller person.
No, actually, I think I was quite larger.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
I gained weight over plebe summer.
Okay.
But yeah, so just imagine like in the middle of boot camp, like I'm barely training for track, and they're running me through the ground. They're yelling at me, making me do all these push-ups and like like other kinds of workouts that aren't like beneficial to my sprinting. So like
hazing.
Yeah. So like boot they just pulled me out of boot camp. Go run the 100 at the Olympics. And obviously I didn't perform too well, so I ran a 12:60.
Okay.
Which was even far from like my PR in high school. Like I ran a 12:26 in high school, and then I would go to the Olympics and run a 12:6. So not anything near what.
And that's in the 100.
Do. Yep, in the 100. Okay. Yeah, so I ran a 12:60 in the Olympics in 2016. My PR for the 100 now is an 11:9. So that I've made strides.
Hell yeah.
Progress since like not only the Olympics but since like high school.
Right.
In the past 3 years.
Hell yeah. And so what is that as compared to the national level? I mean, yeah, sure.
Like against all the other
right.
The big countries, yeah. They're very fast.
What's the world record right now? Like 9 seconds?
So for the men, that's 9.5.
What is it now? Fact check for us here. This is your chance to talk on the pod.
What are we looking for again?
World record.
In the 100 meters.
100 meter. Let's do men and women's. I'm gonna set goals for Regine here, right here on the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be realistic. Like it's not,
right,
not really within reach. But like my goal is to be the best I can be.
Right. So it took you 3 years to increase your time 0.4 of a second.
I mean, it's the 100 meters.
That's amazing. That's
yeah. See the world record. Usain Bolt 9:58.
Okay.
So that's insanely fast. So
right.
Like I don't know if you can like visualize, but 10 meters less than a second.
Right. That means your legs are super long.
You're just Usain Bolt is tall.
Right.
He's very tall.
And the women's record hasn't been broken since 1988 at 10:49.
Yeah, very fast. And like I said, I run 11.9. Very, very far from that.
Right.
Like nowhere.
What is let's see the world average in the last Olympics.
I don't think you.
Is there such a thing?
I don't think so. No.
No. Let's see the numbers at the last.
Or like the times you need to run, like the standards, like the Olympic standards.
Sure. Yeah. Let's see women's Olympic qualifiers. See, this is why these podcasts get pushed to 2 hours, because we do shit like this. Women's Olympic qualifiers, 100 meter.
Yeah, for track and field.
Yeah. All right. Oh, that's the standards right there. Flowtrack.org. And we have to be a subscriber.
Try that other
The
link
second
on the
one?
bottom. Yeah.
There you go. USA Track and Field. Yes. Okay. So, that looks like
Those are the marathon times.
Try going up. Try putting just 100-meter in the search. You don't have to delete it, just add it. There you go. We don't search 100 meters often.
Oh, maybe that one.
The wiki.
Wikipedia, yeah.
Yeah. The second one.
Second one, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, here we go.
All right.
Yep, 11.15.
Shit, you're not that far off though.
It's pretty far off.
That's far off.
Yeah, very far
So that's what you need
to qualify. Mm-hmm.
And what are
Or, like, to
people?
even
What
be-
are people even running though? They're running an 11.1.
So last season, I think the winning time was like a 10:9, something like that.
And the world record is a 10.49.
10:49. Yeah, that has not been touched for a very long time. We haven't seen anyone come really close to that, honestly.
Really?
Yeah, but in like Division 1, I think for me to get to like NCAA regionals, I'd have to run like an 11.4.
Okay.
So it's like half a second.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you're still young too, right? You're 21 years old. And you've been able to increase your time by 0.4 of a second in the last 3 years. Can you imagine in the next 3 years? You know, if you decide to keep going at this and keeping the same regimen and staying, I guess, you know, positively strong about wanting to do it. You know, after college. Right?
I mean, I don't know if I'll be able to. Like,
Why is
I
that?
definitely want to. I mean, because, like, you know, once in college, I'm given all the resources and the opportunities. But after college, like, what program is there really for?
It's true.
Unless I'm not going to be a pro by, like, any, you know, arm's length. So it's going to be kind of tricky.
By a 1/10 of a second, you mean?
Oh, my God. Yeah. But, like, it's going to be hard to continue running after.
Right.
Yeah. Like I have a good friend, like he's not in college anymore, I don't think. So he has his own like private coach or something like that. And it's just hard to have these resources because you have to go out and find it. You more than likely have to pay for them.
Right.
You know, and at the same time you're working, trying to like, you know, get started on your career.
Yeah, possibly start a family down the line, right?
Yeah. So the dynamics change after college.
Whew, man. Yeah, that's something to think about, man. I hope that, you know, you'll find something to be able to continue it on, right? What is the lifespan of a runner? Who's the oldest runner in the Olympics?
I think distance runner is probably a lot older. I don't know. I know we have like there's probably like in the 30s, but that's already like pretty close.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you probably got like a couple more Olympics under your belt, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, we'll see. Like,
to
obviously,
be
if
able
I'm
to
not running
qualify
fast
for
anymore, like, might as well, like, if I'm not running competitively either, like, might as well give someone else an opportunity.
For sure. Yeah, it's good. It's a good way to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
But also, you know, I mean, you're at the top of the game here on Guam, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you've been able to find success and, you know, to give it up after college because college says so.
Yeah.
That's a tough decision to make.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really my decision to make, period. Like,
Yeah.
I won't have the program anymore.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it sucks. Like, it's...
And I'm sure you have, like, resources, right, that you can utilize.
I mean, I could always come back home and train with my high school coach. Yeah.
I know, but with the network that you've made out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, this can be someone can be like, you know, I want to do this when we're done here. Oh, I know someone who can help you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
like you
so
said,
I mean,
private
yeah,
coach, right?
Yeah, it's just like, it's harder because things aren't handed to you.
Right.
Like, I go to the school, I was recruited, so like, yeah, here's the whole program, but instead, like, I have to like, go out of my way to find these things.
Right.
And I have to like go out of my way to make time as well.
For sure.
It's gonna be a lot different.
For sure. And even with my sister, I asked her, I was like, is rugby something that you think you'll be doing after college, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, Adam, I don't really know. It's either there's no pro league on Guam, I mean, in the United States that I know of. And, your only next best bet is to join the national team or try and make it onto the national team.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, yeah, I guess that's a tricky unknown,
Mm-hmm.
right? We've taken the step of being able to put collegiate athletes, on the Division 1, Division 2 to Division 3 level.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the next step is, how do they extend it to the pro level? And I think only a few people from Guam have been able to go into the pro level. I think baseball, right, Matt? Is that correct there? Correct assumption? Baseball is one of the few. Maybe soccer. Maybe not from Guam, but with blood
Yeah.
on Guam, right? But yeah. How long have we been going here? I don't want to.
An hour, 12 minutes.
Oh, shoot.
Oh man. All right. Just a few more things, and then we can cut out here.
Yeah, sounds good.
What are you doing? I guess now for 20. I know I asked you about qualifications stuff, but training wise now,
Mm-hmm.
as your sights are now set on 2020, and what are you gonna do to sort of make the necessary improvements that you need to do, or fine tuning? What do you see as your step you need to take in order to do good at the Olympics?
I mean, really just status quo, because I think, like, I've talked to my coach about it. Like, I want to be able to run this fast. And it just takes a lot of discipline. And really what I got to do is just continue to stay disciplined, continue to work hard in and out of practice. Like, I mean, I always tell like a bunch of kids who ask me like, how are you so fast? I'm like, well, practice is not only the 2 hours you spend a day, like at the field or at the track. Like it's a 24/7 thing. Like, that's pretty much like what I have my mindset on. Like every single minute of the day is like contributing to like how well I'm going to perform later on down the road.
Yeah. Do the coaches know how to improve that 10th of a second?
Oh, definitely. Like track is so like super technical. Yeah, like I mean, there's a science. There's like science, sports science, but there's also like a lot of technical aspects of it. Like I didn't know how to like run. I didn't know like in high school like, oh, I'm supposed to run 100 meters like that. Like I didn't know I had to think about it. I just ran.
Right.
But like now they're like, yeah, like when you have to be at a certain angle on the blocks on like when they say set, like you got to be at the 90 and like 100 degrees on your like legs or something like that. Very, very technical. Like, there's like phases of the 100 meters. Like, like these things were foreign to me back then. I didn't even know like there was a certain way to run it. Like I just
like
thought
the start has its own sequence that you have to follow.
Yeah, like I have to like be in the right positions to set myself up later for the the latter end of the race. Like breaking up the 100 meters as a drive phase and then the acceleration phase and stuff like so on and so forth.
No, I don't know what that means.
Yeah, so like the drive phase, the first like first third of the race, is like you're angled low and you're like you're not really trying to turn over really fast or like run really fast. You're kind of like trying to put some power behind your step. And then the next phase, that's when you like start picking up your hips, like not all the way up, but like that's when you're reaching top speed.
Okay.
And then the last end of the race is like you gotta like push to the finish kind of thing.
Right. Stretch out. Be able to stretch out your
like
your toe.
Definitely like hold that form. But yeah, like it's very technical.
Well, it looks like your next 6 to 8 months is going to be quite eventful for you. And a lot of preparation in the career field. Is there a certain field that you're headed into after you graduate?
Yeah, so we just found out last month. I'll be going when I graduate, I'm going to be a surface warfare officer. So I'm going to be on.
Is that like top secret stuff?
No, it's not top secret stuff. Okay. No, it's just like basically I'm going to be on a boat.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you okay? So you're in a management position on the boat.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So and you would spend X amount of time on the boat, come off, on off sort of deal.
Yeah, I mean, like sometimes we'll go on deployments when we'll be out at sea for like a couple like weeks or months.
Yeah.
And then we'll be back on shore, and we'll like it'll be like a day job, like where you go on the ship during the day, like an 8 to 5.
Yeah.
And go home, go sleep.
Man, I can see how that would hamper your training.
Yep, exactly.
You know, after college, you know, what are you gonna do? I mean, technically you can sprint on the boat, you know, right?
That's the thing. I was about to say we ain't got no track on the boat.
Oh yeah. I thought there was like unless you're on a carrier, right?
See, but like, I mean, we have
like try and get onto an aircraft carrier and just sprint that shit.
See, I mean, we have gyms, but like, where am I gonna run? Like, I can't sprint on a treadmill, you know.
Well, people do. Is that recommended?
Probably
do they have you seen those though? Right, those, it's like a very angled treadmill, right? And it's supposed to like.
It's like it's like meant to handle like top speeds, but like those.
That shit looks dangerous.
It's scary. Yeah, you gotta be like you gotta know what you're doing before you step foot on that.
Yeah, I even see people at the gym. Even my girlfriend does it. And I have to tell her, I'm like, dude, you gotta be careful.
Yeah.
You know, and she'll let the treadmill go. You know, it's like, and she'll just
jump on it.
Fucking jump on it and start running. I'm like. Holy shit, that looks so dead. I was like, can you please be careful?
Yeah, because like, you know, what happens if it goes wrong? Like, you're just going to fly.
I know. You step on your shoelace in the process, you know? You might not be running at that 6 speed, right?
Yeah.
But man, I've seen people book it on the treadmill. Man, one wrong move, dude, that doesn't...
You'll be flying.
Yeah, that doesn't look like it's going to be a happy ending.
Yeah.
Right? So... yeah, thank you. I know we were supposed to do this back in May of this year, right? Was it May?
I don't know when exactly, but I remember we're supposed to do that.
Right.
Like,
it was this year though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in the area. I was doing some traveling over on the East Coast, and what I try to do is, you know, meet up with people who are out there that I know of, that I, you know, either follow on social media or see in the media and stuff. And it's just a way for me to keep the podcast going. And yeah, I know. What did you call it? What did you call it? You know, they called you in last minute.
Oh yeah,
stuff,
so
right?
I got shafted with duty.
Shafted with duty.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
I don't know. I was really upset because like I believe it was on a weekend. So like they took my weekend away and said like, oh yeah, you gotta stand watch. Yeah, I didn't have liberty. They're like, yeah, you gotta stand watch. Somebody's got to do it.
And is Annapolis where you have to stay on campus 24/7?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, we call it prison.
So yeah, we were supposed to meet up, and I was looking forward to it. And then I understand, you know, I mean,
I was looking forward to it too.
Yeah, the duty's a duty, but I'm glad that, you know, I was able to catch you before you leave, and, you know, just be able to break the ice. And man, next time you're here, I would love for you to come back on. Just talk shit, you know.
Yeah.
And whether or not you're running, you know, it's it'd be cool to just tackle. I really like your mentality. I like your mindset. You know, you're not afraid to say that you're really good, you know, but you know how to stay humble, you know, and you can see it just in the words that you speak, and also the realities that you understand, or the way you face your realities. Like, well, I am the best, but I'm not the best, you know. It's kind of deal. So that's cool, and I would really love to like pick through that a little more.
No, I
and,
definitely
you know,
love
see,
to be back here.
You know, unfold the onion. You know, peel the onion, and it's cool because this podcast has been able to like evolve relationships with people, just through conversation. You know, just sitting for an hour, 2 hours, and eventually we sit for 3 hours, and we're sipping on some Black Label or whatever, maybe, or whatever it may be, whatever drink of choice. But yeah, it was cool. Do you want to give shout out to anybody? This is my sort of thank you for, you know, coming on the show and, you know, sharing your mind. So
I mean, really, just
the floor is yours.
Just thank you to like everyone who supported me along the way, like in any way, shape, or form. If you've shown me some love, like give me some like praise, anything like that, like it all helps me, and, you know, pretty much made me who I am today. I'm just really thankful for all the love I get, you know.
Right. And good luck on on everything coming up for you.
Thank
You know,
you.
both with getting commissioned in what 5 months,
Mhm,
5-6
5
months, and then hope for success. Your success. Not success in the eyes of other people, but what you see as success for you in the Olympics. I hope you find that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everybody, thank you so much for joining us for another episode. Yeah, you'll hear it all in the end roll. So the wonderful Regine Tugade
Yep.
on the podcast. Until next time, peace out. Hey guys, thanks so much for listening to this episode of the podcast with Regine Tugade. It is 2020. I hope you have everything planned for this year, and I hope the things that you plan for this year come to fruition as you envision it. Because it's 2020, right? Pun intended. And also for this next decade, prepare for this next decade. It's going to go by incredibly quick. The last decade went by super fast that it's hard to really remember everything that happened unless, this age of social media. Unless you put it all on social media, the internet never forgets. So I wish you the very best. I wish you all the luck. And I just want to give a quick shout out to the sponsor, Payless One. They are your one stop for organic and natural products and education. They're open from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. daily next to the Dedido Payless. Don't forget to support us on Patreon. We're still there. We're still on there. Don't do much on there, but 2020, right? This is the year. We're going to do it all. And don't forget to rate and review the podcast. Those really help on the Apple Podcast app, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to podcasts. Ratings and reviews. Those are the best things you can do. So thank you so much. And don't forget to take care of each other. Be kind. Peace out.